The modern-day Hyperloop started out as a concept made by Elon Musk. Of course, this wasn't the first time someone thought of a floating train moving through a vacuum. Throughout the mid-1850s, there were several similar projects built, but they were never as fast or efficient as the modern-day Hyperloop. Now that technology has advanced, the Hyperloop gets another chance. Musk threw the idea into the world and challenged companies to commercialize the idea. A few startups took on the challenge, and they're all competing to complete the first successful Hyperloop trip. One of the companies is Virgin Hyperloop One. Because of the technical innovations made, the Hyperloop has a real chance of taking over the transportation sector. Compared to its competition, the train, car, and plane, it is way faster, cheaper, and cleaner for the environment. How fast are you asking? The Hyperloop can reach up to speeds of 1200 km an hour because of the lack of friction. It is also the more economically viable option, since there's no need for staff doing transportation, unlike airplanes. Not only this, the Hyperloop requires a very little amount of power, so the most expensive part of the Hyperloop is building it. The low power consumption also makes sure it's clean for the environment. It can be run completely on solar power. All the power that is required will be produced by the Hyperloop itself. Solar panels can be placed on top of the tubes. And as an extra bonus, it is in no way possible for the Hyperloop to get into collisions with animals, making sure the local ecosystem isn't damaged and granting extra safety for the passengers.
In May 2016, the Hyperloop One Global Challenge was announced, where anyone could propose prospective regions for deploying the innovative technology. A year after, 10 winners have been selected. To name a few, in the United States between Miami and Orlando, and Dallas and Austin, and Chicago and Cleveland. In the United Kingdom between Edinburgh and London, and Glasgow and Liverpool. In Mexico between Mexico City and Guadalajara, and in Canada between Toronto and Montreal. The most important factor of the Hyperloop is pretty obvious: time. The route from Chicago to Cleveland, for example, takes you 39 minutes with the Hyperloop, whereas it takes you approximately 4.5 hours by plane and more than 7 hours with a regular train. This is only an example of how time efficient the pods in the Hyperloop are. Thanks to these time-saving aspects of the Hyperloop, different aspects of the society can benefit from the Hyperloop, including tourism, as it makes big cities way easier to access and leave within minutes. Hyperloop will also improve access to education. With universities spread around the country, choosing one that's right for you but isn't too far from home is a challenge that many face when selecting their prospect university. However, with city-to-city links reducing travel time massively, there's no longer a limit to selecting universities close to home. On top of that, Hyperloop will contribute towards solving the housing crisis. The cost of living in locations like London and San Francisco is pushing the poorest residents out due to financial instability. Therefore, by making traveling to places around the country cheaper, people will be more willing to live outside of the city. For example, traveling cheaply from Edinburgh to London would draw more people to live in Edinburgh, which has a significantly lower cost of living than London and a huge stock of houses available. Similarly, houses in Los Angeles are around 66% cheaper than in San Francisco, with the travel time between the two only taking 30 minutes with Hyperloop. In December 2017, Virgin Hyperloop released the world's first test on the new transportation concept. All components of the system were successfully tested, including the airlock, highly efficient electric motor, advanced controls and power electronics, custom magnetic levitation and guidance, pod suspension, and a vacuum. The pod reached a maximum speed of only 240 miles per hour, which is, however, because the track was only a third of a mile. And even though 240 miles per hour is quite slow for a Hyperloop, it is already twice the speed of a high-speed train.
Now, we've looked at almost everything. The only thing left to look at is the future, and the future looks promising. The Hyperloop project has received massive amounts of funding, and the technology needed to build it is all there. The first tests have been completed, and they have all ended successfully. It is starting to look more and more like the Hyperloop will be in everyone's daily lives very soon. The only question we have left to ask ourselves is when. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the future. Invest now.